Um, and so generally when it comes to Dharma practice, the first thing is to listen or to study. So we have the two categories of study, contemplation, or listening, contemplation, and meditation. And so we can't really just begin this stage of meditation without first having listened to or heard the Dharma. So first is the stage of listening, and then following that, there is contemplation and meditation.
딘디인디다 담보 투어버 치발라 카르고고요레 슬라비나 베나다 나랑 기념용 로 차샤위나 드네 에 달로 좀 치사세나리 칸디지 치기거린 람나 드네 다 정보는 뭐지 이렇게 된사 드네 장초블링라 달로 좀 드네 치요레스 딘디 티키고 시스템 로지 and do the which should be nice.
And so Drupon Rinpoche says in his own experience, he studied or listened primarily that period of practice for him where he gained experience happened, when in mainly from His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche at the seat of the lineage in exile, which is Jangchubling in India.
Tindu ta jitang zu tila ta tsojiki ta buglu chungchung ne ko chawa chigi yore tindu pena tana tsarum buchi naji tindu ta tila tene buglu chungchung ina ta chig kanda log tene juntu ne tene log chigi yores.
And so from a very young age, he, wait, the Tritsab Rinpoche, or Chanang?
말이 몇 배는 저자를 보지도 보나 거나로 중중강을 차와로 차요로 어 디소노 북중중이나 근데 배는로 둥지네 로중 치기요나 근데 로글 로중 치고 그래서
Dampo Lodung,
다 담보로 북중중 다 차와 치위나로 북중중스나 로
Oh, so. So, like in the example of, for instance, His Eminence Tritsab Rinpoche, he, having taken ordination at a very young age, so like, for instance, when somebody becomes a monk, say if they become a monk at the age of 7, and then they enter their course of studies.
7, 8, 9, 10, so what?
And then they logu. Logu ring, like you mean for 9 years or
yeah.
at the age of 9.
No, 9 years.
Yeah, and so then they begin their course of study early on, and then they study for 9 years or so.
Tinita ko preliminary 9 years lobjung chine tine ta kharchigi yore lavina ota te chiri ta thi nane ji ya lobjung la thong be kabla tine khargu yor sena tine ta lo chungi tine yedala logo yores.
And then, so that's just the preliminary years of study, 9 years or so. And then they begin their Shedra studies, and that ends up becoming a course of education that that's of about 12 years or so.
Tine wada ti lobjung chine 다 가장 등망망 뭐지 휴인다 루준 집에 가라 다 뭐참아 집바다 요머와 이내 양 아직 다 니인데 인데 근데 양고 지 가시 양 천양이 막고 되네 다 팀이비나 배 효과 배가 올랑게 어디 된지지 루준 치고 요래서
And so when it comes to study, of course, not everybody is the same, but many will study very diligently. So they'll study, basically all day, sometimes even all night, like they'll barely even sleep. And then, they'll wake up very, very early and begin their studies once again.
어다 딘디다 딘디게 나네 딘디 직다 코 타와 다 몽보크 나네 딘디 베나다 each class no 로 디나네 딘디 직 베나 for example 베나 타와 니 자랑한다고 요비나 딘디 디나네 다 무솜도 니도 딘디게라 다 차로 차기로 대차한테네 다나 줄봉 세야지 차기요레스
And so then in each class, maybe say there are 25 monks or so, and then maybe 2 or 3 will become the top of their class. And those 2 or 3 that become the top of their class receive the title Chupon. Churpon.
디니다디 줄봉텔라 디니다 코랑게다 베체 티야케 고노지 쭈구요레스타 뭐 힘발라 트기요로와 베체 티야케 고 쭈구레스 제쪽네 딘다 로솜라 디네 코나 베체 티고 그레스
And so then once that happens, then they begin teaching to the rest of the class. So they'll actually teach the text or the scriptures to the class, and then they'll teach in that way for about 3 years or so.
딘단가 히트리야다 다 예리다 트리야치 마테는 로dun스 딘데 티고
And then some teach for maybe 7 years.
디인디다 디나네 디네 지 가르치고 거스나 다조 대인사래 가르스나 코랑게다 주폰 마토 바도 참마가 마치지다 에듀케이션 간로그로와 이나 주폰 차베라 디네다 마치지라 퀄리티 다기요서와 디네 직 베나 코랑게 직 참바 닝지 터점지 고데 당지메와 다 딘디 지네 강다 다 딘디지게 타와도 코랑라 가워요와 이체요와 딘디 요비나 다 디휴라양 켄보 세야 되다 지기요레스다 딱 원에 개견로지 다 줄fon들이 데려와 가서 갈서대 개견로지 말이 이나다 고 개견로지 갈서대 professional 하베
Professional.
not professional
Provisional.
provisional 이나 거제지는 개견 차그레지는 개견 차고 말와
And so then that becomes like sort of the education for the Churpon, and Churpon, and some also, it also depends on kind of their qualities, the qualities that they develop. Some have love and compassion. Some are able to really, they have diminished self-grasping, and then the others will develop like trust and kind of confidence in them, and then they become they go on to become a Khenpo. But these stages of training are more like they're like provisional. So whether or not they really become a teacher, like a full Khenpo, is that what you mean? Depends on this, I guess, this training.
어다 디인디 딱 맞지 토바세야 테레 디인디 디네다 제타 안가주 곰바세야텔라 딱 곰베나레 디디디 가르치고 요레라비나 디네 다조 테요레 가사 Drong.
I just put my microphone in my water. Sorry. Is it okay over there?
다 가르고 요 랍도 테러와 냥야데
Mhm.
동 따리양 동 따리양스
하고만 성대.
다 동야 라바
Mhm.
데 당텐야 당도 멜로디요
Yene yang de dinda shira koma song.
오다 같소 장고 그러와
And so then there's also the training in melody and recitation. Melodies, recitation and melodies.
오케이 다 레지테이션을 키시 틀라빈 테리다 아 드니 베체도 제통 로셈 그레스
Oh, but this involves, the recitation involves also memorization. So memorizing the scriptures that are recited.
틴드 다 제탕 코랑 드리 베찬 데도 말와 이 볼륨 틴디 요레스 베니마지 니마닝가 로비나야 니마 고텔라 틴디 베차 따마고와 틴디 로셈 고고요레스
And so this is really like volumes of scripture. So meaning the recitation happens like all day long. And so all of those recitations are generally memorized.
틴디 제탕단 돈데 시길로 돈데 domban dongken ki te se na ta diri bena nga so gombe nang ra wina goma chimbo yorwa di te dengen ji yorwa dadan du di dengen tela tene ko pecha ki chogu yo mares pecha ta chogu yo mares
And so somebody who is training in that way, actually, they're also not allowed to, the one who's leading the recitations, for instance, is not allowed to even carry the text with them.
non donde la imba donde khani lapsnia
Donde?
on donde se na bena di di
Oh, the one who's at the head of the line. The leader of the recitations. Yeah, like umsetro.
mari
Oh, okay.
ta te san dingur wa den du dingen di line den da parjo len da wona donde la gon domban dongye ki te ti te tela tene ko pecha ki chogu yo marwa
So the one who is sitting at the front of the line is not allowed to bring the text with them. The one who's leading the recitations.
not leading
Not leading, okay.
the leading is the umzi leading chigirwa
Oh, so that's a different person?
yeah
Okay.
ina dati tneji ha ko gu yores 제가 나지 게다 단기 공치와 나기리 되네 도르조 메르스 되네지 도르마소야 딜라 도르말라야 메르스야 젠자지 작으로 젠자 당나서 도르만도서 요래 어떻게 되네 대장고 요레스
And so then there's also the training in Torma, and in particular, the ornamentation of the Torma. So for instance, kind of like the examples of the Tormas that we have here that are very ornate, like kind of the ornate creation of the ornamentation, the creations of the ornate ornamentations.
제가 나지게 되네 카르고 요레 슬라비나 테레 디니 베 진콜 로와 택 눈송 라 택지다 택 눈송 라도 택 세야들라다 택 야야 마모 요로와 돌마이나 택 야고 요레 플라티나 택 야고 요레 진콜티나 택 야고 요레 디강라 디니 나좀 다 진콜 센멘더로 진 총고로 돌마이나 총당고 그래 tini maintain den song tang go gro o ta tila song condition do tang kandi ma ko rule system kandi ma to ha go go yo des
And so then there's also the rules or systems for the colors. So there's kind of like the color coordination. There's the different colors that go with the different parts of the mandala, different colors, for instance, for different ornaments on the tormas and so forth. So understanding kind of the code of color, the color coding system for these things is also another area of study in itself.
take la ba take
And lines.
take la di mambo yorwa na jingo na take yore dorma na take yore la na take yorwa.
So there's the system of kind of also like lines that's like the measurements, sort of like establishing the measurements of the, whether it's the mandala or like a painting, for instance. Then there's the system of kind of understanding how to map out the lines that create the different kind of the proper dimensions of the structure, whatever it is that's being created.
Right, or this
it's called lines. It's like literally the lines.
Right, so interesting. So we here with these days we can what is drawing paper, right?
Graph paper.
Graph paper. We already square. So this first make a square, right? So that's most actually same, but first makes perfect square. So we think it just really can buy or like internet can print, right? But this is most the foundation and the most difficult. So if you make one perfect square, and then we can just doesn't matter like this way maybe you two squares have this that, so this easy to. But first make square is we call this the main foundation line. They call it 8 grade lines. So they can make perfect like square. Oda tindi Jangu yores. Tindi tine ta tindi indu Chetanga zoda gomba seya di gomba tasan seya di ngone hansanya ki ko kadi chimbo dang tiga nangi ko sanje temba de la ko survive ko semdenya di the gomba seya chadi yores.
Gomba. So in this way, we can see that, with all of this different kind of training in these really specialized areas, it's really the monastery that passes on the Buddha's teachings. Like that's what causes the integrity of the Buddha Dharma to survive, is the monastic institution.
tiga nangi Quran so system ji yore system de ko samji me chabade system de penada thambo thawa china ko the experience thambo la tela gorda ji chama se ya ji chama se na chalungya rawa chama chalungya tini ki jangge start the first level do is tama songe
K jaken?
the cleaning those so
oh okay, I thought that's what you said, but I wasn't sure. The first level draw it away.
really?
Okay. And so in this way, like actually there's such an intricate system, kind of like a system of, I also think he implies in this like hierarchy. So the like the experience of the monastic is like everybody has a role, and like in the beginning, for instance, you are maybe one who pours the tea, or you have the task of like cleaning, being the one who cleans.
Tene da second level ngaso thongba level thong. Tene choba khadi chobi na yang thambo ngaso di gang dungro kharanga. Tene nipadal thongpu go yores.
And then the next level is to kind of have the task of calling people to assembly. So like through blowing the conch or through playing the gong.
What that teaching go grace?
And so then people such as these are needed too.
So interesting, this the system, so gong, first they play the gong. It's probably maybe a morning, probably 20 minutes long. Huh? Yeah. So because that's actually people didn't wake up. Right. So they didn't wake up, then gong. First they said gong. Gong is kind of like this stages. Then we call the gong means Dzogchen, means he almost stopped. But this otherwise gong is just they know when this ends. So just no worries. First, go to bathroom, wash the face, and stay gone. So but then this gong like ding, 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 faster. There's now this I have to go. And then also there after that this blow the conch. So gong stops. The two monks they blow the conch. So they have rules. So we call this 13 blow like Mabu Juksum. So this mother and son, something like that. Anyway. So that is in the monastery system is before the stop the below the conch, right? He like basically he have to do below the 30 times. 30 times. 1 3. So yeah, 13 times. But the monks before the conch stops have to enter in the shrine. Right. Right. So before you, all the monks inside. So if this tumba means two monks, it come in, so behind, so they're big trouble.
It's worse than military.
Huh?
Worse than the military. Because the military, when they go to formation and then they show up late, everybody knows they're late, and it's very bad for you to come late.
Yeah, they yes. So they have system.
Everybody here should do push-ups.
Right. Yeah. So tene ya rodi tumba ya rodi tene ta tene chabri seyaji chagres chabri labdu ta terwa the thing is shama stendo tene ta ti na ta ko pe hansa ta jangro yang mena tendo ro ta de ma chen labdu tene ma chen ke kala so ta de gang do gre tene tega na ji ke tene the shama master labdu tene ta to chama ta jangro ro ha ko gres.
So then the next thing is training and becoming the shrine master. And then there's also, of course, the cook. So learning how to cook and the different, the proper way to cook, prepare food and serve food. Serve food too is part of it? Yeah.
I have to have so this the measurements, so how to cook. So like 200 monks, right? So you too much, that's we not waste the, right? And it too less, there may be not enough. So they kind of really, little bit leftovers probably, but have to judge. And then not only that, so during lunch time or dinner time, breakfast time, so who is coming, who didn't come, so have to know. So that's kind of really their responsibilities. Maybe they are sick, or maybe they didn't stay in the monastery, or So that's how to know what they so going on. Ta tini ya ando na tini ta ko ta ya ando na tini ta jekchina ko ngahi ta umzi se ya tis kale khaboro wa ko dis mut ki ya boda wo ta be tawa chasang la yang tombo gang lebo leb go na ta umzi ndonghe mongbo yo des. Yini yang ta fena la karsena tini dispensary ya gekuchi go go wa. Ina gekuchi bi kabla korang sama ha ko koban ro ji go yo des.
And so then, as one progresses in the monastic system, then eventually those who have a good voice have the opportunity to become umze or chant master. And then they're following that, then kind of like the highest level, highest sort of?
Not highest, but steady, keep going, but
Yeah, is
so most important part
is becoming disciplinarian.
Oda thi gabla korang karina da gombatik system chatang ha ko go gro ha ko ne tene tem de ina da karin ha ko go gro.
And so then that role, it requires really understanding everything regarding the system, you know, all of the rules, all of the kind of details of how the monastery functions.
Da thi hugla tene ta korang karse gur chikta spiritual position senada kora sigris pena lopong se ya dorjo lopong se ya chopong se ya tene ya ro bina oda tene no ji tene raya yores ta gegeng lamik sendo ro wa.
And so then, there begins sort of like the spiritual positions of becoming like a Dorje Lopon or Vajra Master or Churpon Ngumalavian Samsung.
Mariang tila ko chopon special ron chopon go the karsenda konso di Dorje Lopon na shimbek. Jik madam the shamas dendo marwa tini ta ko in charge no ji.
Or becoming a Trupon, which is different from the Trupon he was talking about before, which is like kind of like not exactly like the Vajra master or shrine master, but sort of like
the director.
Kind of. Okay. Or, you know, then one becomes like a, you know, gains the title like Lama, for instance, becomes like a teacher.
What at the end da ko system thi ning tangi zo nga zo labya da da nga zo yang samsam nga zo takpar chu no ye gi yo de ina da mongbo ye gi do samya ye sam ma des tin da nga zo kaduina ko ji jang go yo sa des
yang cha
da tangi nga zo nam ji da chu mongbo lab go ro ye mongbo lab go ro ba ina ko kashi lab tsam je ke nga zo phing gi yo sam ma des tin da ko ji tin ji jang go yo sa des
ya poko ma song go da.
That learning not only one teaching, so this.
Not only one teaching.
What this ko the gombek samno tambina teninga so da chu mambo tu go yorwa nyong mambo sa go yorwa.
So if you think about it in terms of the system, you know, so it isn't. Tatung de tunda dor du bagare lagyo na yapo koma songkong da.
Rita tanging la in baje tang so takwa de hi chu mong ye gi yorwa tin da.
Su de lama tangma de sijala lagyo. Sijala.
Tin da windi ta chu mong bo tin du ina ta ko ina chu se ya tela ko ji ha khoya la ko tu chu ndo go gu yosares mong ko go gu yosares.
So we just to like understand that when it comes to explaining the Dharma, like this isn't something that you know, like so we think, oh, you know, like just like anybody can teach the Dharma, maybe, is that what you mean? No. Okay.
So sometimes you think, oh, we are here, or maybe too much teachings, or but we have to yes, of course, you're understanding, hearing once, understanding good, but naturally not. So we have to first the study and hearing and again. And that tangi toba singa they are talking about toba chitang toba chi kabla kandis chi yoba. Tini toba di yanga nya jibu yin samarwa kasina nyamnyon sa ne bene gombe system ro le kale toba chi nyamnyon sa tini je mato beke koji peche tsek jibu ha kobi na koti nyamnyon to sa tugu yo samares.
And so this is generally in terms of like listening or study, that it requires, it's also not just listening, a process of listening, but also, in the so like in the system of the monastery, listening again and again, receiving teaching, studying texts, and gaining experience, through that.
All right. That's I think that's very unique, and I think that's very important. Living in the monastery is unbelievable, So, so some monasteries there are thousands, monks. But we have. I was in Jangchubling. So there is probably always like 150 or 200 like monks. So the working with the monks. So one hand is this not easy, but one hand is the really opportunity to understanding each, order monks, what they're thinking, what they need. Younger monks, what they're thinking, what need. And communication and working together, living together. So that's actually really amazing, yeah. Through the practicing, through the learning. So I think one hand is just really, of course, there's sometimes like emotions, of course, there is situations, but really not big deal, actually. So, like for instance, sometimes, the lay people, sometimes very difficult to, couple of people living together, maybe, I don't know, don't want to stay with the parents. And maybe, I don't know, I think one is, he's a really famous Geshe. He said this Buddhism and non-Buddhism is a big difference, he said. If you really in non-Buddhism or maybe younger, really young age, if you're 20 people living together, probably there's big problems. But he said, living like thousands of monks together, so there's not really big issues, big problems. So that is like really special because of the Buddhism, because of the practice, So this, I saying also this Dharma practice, yes, we said, okay, listening, right? Yes, it is good listening, but why the listening, okay? You have to use your learning. so the how to learning is like live together, like also your monks. So I think there are issues, problems, but slowly there's not become like separation, something, So living together, that's okay, So the learning experience. So through that is like really bigger. The mind is actually, they become bigger, more acceptance, the more understanding each other. So like my experience is I did 6 years. So the best difficulty part is as a young monks, say, okay, do this one, you this, yeah, okay, no problem, But there I turn around, like totally different things they're doing. But that's understand that the children, so I really not angry. Otherwise I say, oh, okay, so like for example, I can say, okay, go get, this B class, you go there. I said, oh yeah, okay, yeah. But I turn around, maybe he go to maybe that's the C class or something, maybe outside, But my learning is like, that's okay, So slowly they can change. Otherwise, I angry whole day. Whole day, So I don't want that, So.
When you say 6 years, you mean you were a disciplinarian for 6 years, right? Can you repeat the questions, please? Well, when you were in retreat for 6 years.
Oh, sorry. Can we pass the microphone around? Where's the other one? Yeah.
Drupon, when you said your experience of 6 years, you meant you were like the disciplinarian for 6 years, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Can you tell us one or two stories from that, and what it's like to be disciplinarian? Like, do you have to wake up earlier than everyone and go about the monastery and all this kind of thing?
So yeah, I have to probably, I'm not sure I not first wake up, but I be there in front in Chiron, almost nobody there. So, and then I standing there, all the monks come in. So I said, I see before the what is below the conch, right? Conch monk. So enters maybe a couple monks behind. So I have to tell them why. But the system, so really amazing. They really almost 99% like keep the rules on time. As long as I there in the monastery, okay? And then we kind of sitting, and the disciplinarian have throne. So can see almost everybody. So actually interesting monastery is the particular like order monks, even though they are Khenpos or like order lamas, they're really kind of aware what is the disciplinarian, where they're walking or he's sitting. He's sitting and then it's okay, but he didn't sit, maybe come like a couple walk in the temple, so people really quiet. Like also we call these Hapto monks that sit. We called like you have standing. It is like we put the tracks, right? Like this, stuck. So like that, you just cross just like this. It's not like that, and then this leg stretch, and then this. You cannot move, like hands doing something or like something hand shaking or moving or like, and also like sometimes we like chanting, right? Chanting, so something like, or even though we drum, right? Some are drumming, that's okay, but if they're not drumming, like hand looks like drumming, or, and also this a certain thing where the use the bell, exactly. But just randomly just all using the bells or just make noisy in the table or you cannot do that. So yeah, that's story. But also like, for example, sometimes that time I was there, the holiness come to the practice or teachings, morning session, almost every morning. So they have to be there, before. So prepare, I asked this holy attendant, so everything's prepared for the holiness come to the teaching. So all the talks. And then also holiness comes, we can like incense and cut out. So right. And then not only that, holiness coming, and everybody, right position, all the monks. So that's one, and that tiga na yiterwa. That was toba seyatri. That ti hugla nga that samba seyati. That chidu that nga gomja gugwa. Nyamla chi gugwa. That jetang gombe system do wina. Dine. That nga jetang 3-year retreat seyaji yore ina ya. That 3-year retreat seyatla. That jetang main thing only 3-year retreat mari. That nga so ji 5-4 pa chakcheng and then tang. Then ji chudu la so one royatla only 5-4 do the chagyo mari. Marugo sorizote. Losong chosom do the chagyo mari. Ina yang ta kanta kaina menata. Nga so ji samdi bi kabla ta so ji go yorwa.
So the system is based on, of course, the three categories are study, contemplation, and meditation. And then if, mainly the focus in the monastery is study and contemplation. And then for those who wish to deepen in meditation or practice, then generally this means going into the 3-year retreat. And particularly practicing the fivefold path of Mahamudra, followed by the 6 yogas of Naropa. So there's the 3-year, 3-month.
Mari, tela ko 3-year to lawgamaris.
Oh, this is not the 3-year retreat.
Right.
Okay.
Ina ta jetranko that is on dogo res. Ina nyamanda wina tene ji ngone ji ngandenda wina lo jenggon lo zomgon raya naru chudong do lo zomgon goya tene yasares.
Oh, so
ina yang ta tananga so ji traditionally kamada ngaso tanda ina ta the 3-year to no lagu yorwa.
So actually it used to be the case that that these two were separate, that there were actually, like, you would spend maybe 3 years practicing in retreat, the fivefold path of Mahamudra, and 3 years separately practicing, the 6 yogas of Naropa. So it isn't actually traditionally the case that these two are combined. But these days now, that's what we refer to when we refer to the 3-year retreat. These two are done together.
In a 3-year retreat, say that ko separate, but 3 years say that ko main chungsan ro the bet kono kagares. 3 years chungsa main gi yor the bet kagares tanati ko nga zo ta chamdi ba ego na the 3 years love mar sin ta tanda no love yor ma chami ha ko yo mar wa ina ngone china ji chakchang an den ji ya da chudu ji ya la 3 years love mares.
So we call it the 3-year retreat now, and that's like what everybody is sort of familiar with, is referring to the 3-year retreat in this way. But actually, that isn't actually the 3-year, like it isn't, you know, the 3-year retreat.
So 3 years 해야지 가르세나다 나도 대요래 되네 저당 센체 라 나로초로 세야제다 세미 뜰로초로 세야지 요레스 티니다 나도 틴 센체데 즉 말이스다 로솜 추솜 세야들라 티네 단 세미 뜰로초로 세야지 다 차전 코랑 간 고온 로네 티네 다 텔라코 로솜 데기 라데 티네 나도 강바도 섬에 즉바자 로솜 메바소 티네 메수지글라 퉁디 메바다 대치 제야들라 티네 3 years 라라고레스
So really, actually, the real 3-year retreat involves both the completion stage with characteristics, being the practice of the 6 yogas of Naropa, and the completion stage without characteristics, being the 6 yogas of Tilopa. And during that was where the name sort of originated. The 3-year retreat was in connection with that practice, and it would be like you would go into your retreat dwelling, you would seal up the wall or the door, and you wouldn't come out for 3 years.
3 and 50 days
3 years and 50 days.
텔라딱 원이 3 year 라고레스
So that's the real 3-year retreat.
디니드네 다 대가 나이게 다 아직 참들이 동비나 다 참진게 뭐뭐 쉬어요와 다 자라동다 요리 이나다 디 직조 드네 직 배는 둥 점공로 딘디 게드네 다 고지 냠 똑과 직 당지 쉐당 마예 딘디로 다 examination로 치네 드네 직다 거랑 디스직 고 당지 쉐비 따로 당 딘디 총비나 드네 고 두분 거야 그렇소로 드네 직 요사레스
And it was after that 3-year retreat that people then received the title Drupon if they, so for instance, after an examination from someone like the Drikung Kyabgun, the head of the lineage, like Drikung Kyabgun Rinpoche, who would decipher what their level of experience and realization was, whether they had in fact overcome self-clinging or not, and then based on the signs of having accomplishment, having overcome self-clinging, then they would receive the title retreat master.
어다 디인디다 ngatan du duinda uchina nga tosa gumsom ke jaja thini je yoris 디인디 양아 대가 나이 거다 ngaso ji 제당 le people re 대가 나이 요 discourage 양고다 또 정말 지도사 말이 잠빌로 요로 대 지구구여서 말이스 디인디다 ngaso 제당 고 남가라 가서 조어는 뭐지 송래 배 드린 개파거나 개배들 남가 지요레스 양고 지 랑랑 소소키니 찌레 치비인도네 랑가 지요레스 티인디베는 거 게문 죽속 그담바 송도티네 지 테네 로겐고 히라하마고 이네 야 텔라 양 남가 믹스 유위코 상지야 요레스
And so sometimes, hearing things like this, one might become discouraged and think, oh, wow, it's such an extensive path of study, contemplation, and meditation. And, as a lay person, like, how can I possibly follow this path? But it isn't, it isn't something that you need to feel discouraged about, because there's the power of the pith instructions, and especially so for instance there are those there's the path of really coming to through, for instance, receiving pith instructions.
Mada ben chakante extensive thni na extensive kalamga yorwa. Bihang sang monkey pa thni yowina. Ta te maybe ne yang gemun zukso ke dambas. Labde yang ko ji lobjong thni chi magowa. Chi thogumaro lo gengwa ro ji na. Ko damga khona gomde ya sangji ya thni yores.
And so there's like the extensive path, the very involved extensive path, and then there's the path of what's referred to as like the finger pointing or the pointing out instruction for the old woman, right? Which is, without having to study much, without having to go through all the extensive training, there is like the direct path and sort of direct understanding.
Tini ta damga se ya ta ngone nga chu lamye ke damga nang lab grawa. Damga na lab nga damga na song ta ti pe nga thop song lab ya mare. Ina ta lamye ke thonda du ji lab sha wa ta la ta za wa ni ma ji ya che ya ta wa. Ta de.
And so, and that is actually, it can be like pith instruction. This type of pith instruction is really like instantaneous. There's very little instruction that's needed. So the Lama gives, very pithy, sort of concise pointing out or instruction, and that alone can be enough.
Right, ina yang ta ti terwa. Watanga lame top song ta yabo cha song zame ti ke chamarwa.
Ta lame top song?
Tanga the PT instruction top song ro lam na de go maris. In a current go lam na lame ki pe du ji lab ya yorwa. Wata de maji ya te nyamne te ji go nyamna chi di na de yorwa. Nyamna chi go bro.
But that can be enough, but it has to be followed by very diligent and rigorous practice. So it isn't enough to just say, "Oh, I received the Lama's pith instructions," but there has to be, real dedication based to the practice based on those pith instructions.
Da tin du nyama phu ro yin bi na da ji koran da tan nga chun de ga na yin yang ji chame ke be yi ge lo yang ro yin na chama knowledge tin di ya sa ma re tin du ji mo bo je ke yi yang lo xing ge sa ma wa yin ne yang da ji le people la da tin di lu so no be chen bo yo re tin du ji Lama jigla damga ji shu ta te yang gom de ya ji.
And so in Tibet, for instance, not everybody knows even how to read. And so there isn't like even the possibility really to engage for many, especially lay people, to engage in like, a very extensive path of study, for instance. But many people, even though they don't maybe even know how to read, they have like great faith in the Lama, and so they really rely on this method of just receiving the pith instructions from the teacher and practicing based on that.
Tinita damga nang xiao te ta ji so lo to na kar lo dang go na damga thel go na lo dang ge yor wa tin chamne yang khensa tin do wa karse gore ko too much ji karse gore ha ko wanda wo tin yo na ji thoba nam to ma yo sar wa tin du hira ha ko mi wi na tin ji ko damga thega ma do tin ji theba dang yi chi de zo de ji ne che yo sar es
the Gyabra kuma
da ji tang the wa lu jong ya bo yo na lu jong ya bo se na ma re da kang da the wa ji ko do mang bo yo na ha ko gu yo na de nga zo yi chi che ya de ka bo ro wa yi chi che ya the ba je ya de pa jo ji la gu yo re chu jo ji la ha ko gu ro da de ni lo so mo dan de ni be hansaya ki ko ji sem zeje ki yiche de laptop yu samarwa ti ndi ne ta tanda lobjong shida menyen zo yimbi na tene tek lame na sha jo tegara ti gana ko ji ran lo do so lu tang so dang khandi lo dang go na de tang to bya ko teba tang yishi je lebu yu sarwa ta ti teba da yishi tini ji lebi na tene ko to ba je lo wa to ba je ya ke tini yin sa res.
And so if somebody doesn't have a lot of study, then actually sometimes it's easier to really give rise to faith and devotion, and therefore like actually have experience based on that. Because sometimes with more knowledge and more kind of intelligence and intellectual study, this can sometimes actually get in the way. So sometimes it's those who have less kind of knowledge and study that they can really give like their full faith and devotion to the teacher, like single-pointedly, and therefore, generate like give rise to understanding through the power of that devotion. And if there is that kind of real trust and understanding, then they give rise to realization. I mean, if there is that kind of real trust and faith or devotion, then they give rise to real understanding.
So do you have some questions?
So Rinpoche, you were saying for lay people, or it wasn't just a general statement, I think you were saying, but that there's the extensive path, for study, and one can progress through the stages in the monastery and then into retreat. But for a lay person, we're often overwhelmed with lots of responsibilities and things of that nature. And so there's an alternative of receiving the pith instructions. And then once we receive those pith instructions, we have to practice diligently in order to experience and then gain maybe realization. So it seems like stability is a very important part of that. And to have stability, in order to experience and realize the pith instructions, we would have to stabilize the mind. So would you speak a little bit about stabilizing the mind in the midst of chaos, the ongoing flux? Well, not just samsara, but the ongoing flux of activities that we have to tend to as lay people.
Tendati yang pena tendati yechi pe tendati sim tenda namto mambo yona lega mambo leya yena tene kapla kapo yorwa tene sim se chipala chra ne tukiyo mare.
Ri ta ti ni ta yina nga ta ti ni thobar chi wala ngoni chi na ti ta le la wo yo marwa ma to be ngoni chi na nga tsu de ji rang la rang yi che ba se ji go yo sa res confident ji ti ni rang la rang yi che ba se ya de khari se na ji pena sangje le theba chi yo na re ji chi yo na re tele yang thonda de kharsena yang da lamanda wina digore thonda di yang chi parjo sanje ki chi tin ro ji cha de yo marwa tin te ko rang ki chi tin te la ngone thane ji di thonda la ko ji khari na be lo dang thoban ro ji go yo sarwa I chi chi ya tla.
Yeah, so it isn't easy, and the most important thing really is to develop confidence in yourself. And also understanding that confidence in your own true nature also being no different, from the Buddha, no different from the true nature of the Lama.
So the 가르스나 나랑랑 이치바나 오지 고요사리 테칼라오래.
You have to believe in yourself. Like oneself, you have to believe in yourself.
어디 임발라 간디 이치 그래서 간디스 이치 그래.
So how is it that you gain belief in yourself?
디인도 가리 이치 그래서나 빼나 초라 라마다ව 상지다브지라 빼네 대바 이치치바 디 가르스나 지 라마티키 치도다 상지티키 치도 마레스 테카르스나 랑기 치도 힘바지다 이치고구와 테하고구요레스.
So, for instance, and part of that is that, like, for instance, your faith and devotion is not for the sake of it's not for the Lama's sake, it's not for the Buddha's sake. It is really, it is for your own sake.
Yes, that's
so that's really important to understand.
제가 나기게 지 근데 요나 드네 고지 디스코다 이체안으로 오지다 한테 용거와 디는 이게 지 티요 다들 지를 사닝가랑 티칭강 로긴스.
And so it's really like that kind of understanding helps you to gain confidence. Does that make sense? And so he said he composed something that actually he'll share during his teachings that sort of speaks to this.
Yeah, it was in Kentucky morning, so I remember something. But I actually not remember, but I think sometimes I say already, but then just, I don't know how much, also this I saying not exactly same, but something in the paper, so then easy to kind of, people can keep, So actually this Dharma practice is of course we say all the time, we say, okay, benefit other sentient beings. That's kind of like whatever rule or routine. But reality is the benefit the individual who practice. But we thinking, I practice for myself, and then so these kind of changes to for me, right? So me then changes the result. Right? If you like, for example, we like short example, maybe one day 1 hour practice, right? Okay, first we thinking the 2 ways, okay? You spend 1 hour practice, whatever practice, okay, your meditation or chanting, so it doesn't matter. So 1 hour practice. So the truly in the 1 hour practice, I benefit sentient beings. Like that, so no expecting. So just something, nothing wanting to get. So that is kind of like really the real result, or real ripening fruition. So this kind of like good choice. And then this other choice, you practice 1 hour, right? So practice 1 hour, and then something like, for me, or like whatever, like kind of like a bit involved, sub-clinging. So this, and you did 1 hour practice, but this, the result changed. You didn't get, basically. The almost you get, but then, like 10 round. Really is. So that is kind of like we really Dharma practice. Is whatever you do, as much as possible, not involved the sub-clinging me or I. So also, yes, of course, reasons we practice, we are happy, or we are good, or maybe we are benefit other sentient beings, or we want enlightenment. So that's kind of a couple of reasons we are practice, right? So the fruition come or not is how much involved the sub-clinging together. If sub-clinging, maybe not to get result. I said 10 round. So if really hard, I said need to sacrifice many things. So not if you can't like very simple way, like everybody like achieve enlightenment, quickly, but not. There's challenges, a lot of challenges. So how to the challenges, how to sacrifice. So I saying this. So then, really, truly, like not looking for others, whatever, doesn't matter. So looking, I really want to get result or not, That's kind of more, you choose. Not whatever Dharma practice, not showing others. Reason we Dharma practice reduce our kind of afflicted emotions, purifying the karma, and reduce the sub-clinging, selfish. So that is actually the simple way. That's the pit instruction. If you really focus that one, maybe no need to, like I said, the 25 years, you no need to study. But if you still, this, if 25 or maybe 30, 40 years you study, you already memorize. But then this, I know Lord, I see Lord, yeah, I may be best, I'm a scholar, yeah, I'm Geshe, I'm Khenpo. I don't know. It really challenges, so maybe the word, they know, okay, maybe everything, whatever, debate, what it means, and the Tibetans, there are a lot of like, what call this, grammars, poetries, but we don't want that, We're bored. Purpose Dharma practice really is the important. We don't want to difficulties, we don't want suffering. So there really comes from, we cannot make suffering come from others very, very. There's some people, like maybe few, but mainly it's the challenge. Most challenge is on afflicted emotion sub-clinging. That's most challenge, So sometimes we say, I don't like that person, maybe just not go there, that's okay, The sub-clinging is always with us. So that's this kind of focus. That here no yitirwa. That nga so jeta nga tunju labu yorwa. Nga so ji kurwa seyat ningbo yo mares. Seyat la chi chuchi gore labu yorwa. Inam kurwa seyat la kurwe ki leka le male kecha yo mares. Leka male labu yo mares. 그러면 니는 가서 사야 걸 통야 걸어 레고 이거 있어.
So we say, that there's no essence in samsara, that samsara has no real essence. But that isn't to say that, we just like we only dedicate ourselves to Dharma and we don't function in the world. We stop working, for instance, because, we have to.
Not like that.
It's not like that. We have to
Okay.
feed ourselves. We have to clothe ourselves. Saya gogyore, tulo gogyore. Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, of course, we're not attached to samsara, but we live with samsara. How to live with samsara, we understand. So we cannot, this samsara is stable, samsara, you're not going tomorrow, like behind there's no samsara, just we open this door, walk behind, there's no samsara. We are lucky, but not. Okay, we live in the samsara. We have to live with samsara. But how we live, we need to learning. So first of all, is I saying this, okay, how we live the samsara? So we have to kind of functioning, living with whatever we live. Like have to have like this education, work, survive. So that is very important, I said we cannot go outside, just there's something interesting, this story that's kind of in Tibet story. They said this, something is the hidden valley. I heard the story, but they said you go to hidden valley, then you don't need to do anything. Hidden. That's actually this kind of like their stories, like Pemago, right? This.
There's a famous place called Pimako, which is actually said to be like a secret place, like a place that doesn't kind of exist in this dimension.
Right. So, but there is kind of some too. They said, okay, you no need to work. They said you no need to cook. They have like a no need cloth. So they said you have like if you need cloth, you'll live staying under the tree. You something like a bed cover the leaves, and then if you really need food, something there's kind of like I'm planting food. You can eat. Other than you don't need anything. So that is actually very difficult, So we have to eat. So first we live with samsara. You have to work care, You handle your work care means just not only accept, but you accept, but also you have to live, in the samsara, you functioning, living with samsara. So that's very important. And then at the same time, through the samsara, we have a lot of learning, So because of samsara, we need a lot of opportunities, So we have to develop the love and compassion. So they just be on, there's not samsara, and how we can love and compassion. So maybe no one's their problems, no one's suffering, and how we know where to develop to love and compassion. So, but we have a lot of opportunities, So there are issues, problems. So then we slowly learning, So also we said this really important part is we five a Path of Mahamudra, this first. So first you start, love to your parents, or your husband, your wife, so that's your start, So sometimes you say, oh, I don't like my wife, that's all, but I try to help all sentient beings, I don't think so, So, but kind of like whatever, closer, you can figure out. Then okay, you figure out. And then you can extend it, But sometimes you say like, okay, far away, I can benefit sentient beings, but you cannot benefit or living or your parents. Then how you can benefit the sentient beings? So that's why samsara, also this kind of samsara, we lot of opportunities, a lot of learning, and finally we achieve enlightenment. So, okay.
In appreciation to what you said right before Damien's question about sometimes having less knowledge can be better in the study, practice, contemplation, and meditation. I just kind of, because I've experienced that at times where I'm practicing and meditating and I'm feeling very aligned and open, and then I'll go into a book and study and I feel like it messes me up a little bit, like it creates more questions than answers sometimes, and then there's some contradiction. And is that kind of what you mean in that way, or how can I sort of reconcile that? Because sometimes I just kind of put all that down and I forget about the study part and I just practice, contemplate, and meditate, but then am I creating an imbalance? But that sort of seems to work better for me, but I'm just kind of asking, because what you said sort of made sense to me, but then I'm not quite sure how to put it all together.
So yes, I think we can maybe make the separated, the study time and the practice time. So yes, if you something study time, so whatever study, like teachings or read the book, listenings. And the practice time is the one thing, okay, this, if we study book, okay, how many of these pages, each book, it's a smaller book, but still there's maybe 10, 20 pages. But you 10, 20 pages, you cannot put in practice. Even though you cannot put in one page. Like for example, you try to meditation, right? What do you, in the book, what do you, suggest? Okay, we said, well, yeah, you maybe no thoughts. So maybe that's it. Other than it's not really kind of reading this and that, no simple thing. And no kind of like, no extensive things. And then like, for example, if you like recitation, something you mentor, this is a mentor, that's it. So there's a lot of things, sometimes you mentor not too fast, not too slow, something like that, but there's not really a lot of books in putting in the, practice. So yes, the practice time is simple. So this also, like I said, the 3 attitude. So this during the Mahamudra, actually not only 3 attitudes. So in the Drong tradition is that we reach the Mahamudra start. So Mahamudra start, you cannot read them. Basically, this that Drupon took all the books. So even do not keep the books and texts. And also there's not much pit instruction either. So that's first the beginning is harder, so the sort of like, confusing, what I do, But later on, it's your own experience through devotion, through trust. There's no questioning, But otherwise, you like always questioning, how to do, So, and also sometimes with, I think, Dzogchen terms, okay, they showing the PT instruction, but sometimes they make confusing, not really real, but they're saying, oh, like this, that, so then thinking, oh, maybe this one, yeah, so, yeah. Then you cannot single-pointedly, they cannot contemplate. You're something like, oh, yeah, saying like that, yeah, maybe that's one, If you're thinking like that, then you not get realization yourself. So then Digun Gaju is this no pit, mostly no pit. Go ahead, go ahead, just do practice. So first they said your conflict, oh, I don't know what you do, or how to practice. But you keep going. You get realization, your own realization. Then you're happening your own realization, and then there are no questions. So no expecting anything, like I think, or the lamas, I think they had, like even though no matter how lamas, just they want to see just kind of blessing, but they're nothing expecting, with the instructions, why I get this information, maybe I get something, No. So this is the own realization. So no questions? No comments? Okay, I think that maybe we stop here. So also we are really lucky. So I always said, to Dharma study practice is not really kind of like accident, so we have to have like karmic connections, previous merit, and a lot of conduct together, accumulation, causal conditions together. So we have right now with the condition, so pretty good. So we really easy to study, easy to receive teachings, and also easy to individually can practice. So that is very rare understanding. And also now we have like a place, so teachers come. So that is, I think, really our life is very important. Yes, our life, many things we need to finish, we need to this, we need that, sure. But among those, I think, most important, I think, more valuable is the teachings and practice. So that's it, we are good. We have like good merit, I think. So also kind of be aspiration pairs, keep going. If you're lucky, achieve enlightenment this lifetime. But if not, so maybe the better, than this. Maybe not make worse than this life, so. But also I always said, so this, the good thing is our hand, wherever we go, very higher. So this own choice and own hand. or maybe like a courgette, cordon. That is the our doing. So we cannot, a person cannot make judge, okay, you can I put it on, you can put up. No. So this is everything is just on doing. So but other day, so even the Buddha said, so just up to you, up to you. I show you the path, but later on up to you. So up to you means too, we need to understanding is what I'm doing. I'm better or not, So the own judge, one can see, but we cannot see others. Okay, oh, you looks good, you looks bad, I cannot say, and no one cannot say, oh, you are better, you looks like a little bit higher, or maybe you looks like a little bit down. We don't know, but individually know. So I think counter we aging or counter developers, the ages come, increasing the age, like means okay, this is 55 and 57, but we never go to 55, 54. Not right. Right. So that's how to we know. Okay. So then same time. Okay. Yes. Up. But then you have to have inner. You need up. Right. Okay. Then you can up. So your inner, means more love, more compassion, more cares, or maybe less. That's all. It really is the enemies are sub-clinging. So maybe sub-clinging less. Then you up. That's fine, But your aging is up, and also the spiritual is still that's very slow, Maybe sometimes could get the wrong way, but that's not okay, So aging is up, and same time your practice have to up together. So then So. Okay, so now it's dedication.
So on page 24, the bottom of the page. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Dugungpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We don't have much to say tonight, but just want to let everybody know that we'll start tomorrow at 10. And for everybody on Zoom, we are running a webinar, so please just sign in. Anytime you're ready, we'll be beginning at 10. And then registration will be taken care of by Paula and Melanie. That's going to open tomorrow around 9:15 or something. So even if you haven't registered, or even if you have registered, I should say, then please see them. It's helpful if we have the numbers recorded. So everybody here, if you could just let them know. And I think that's about it for now. Yeah, just across there. Yeah, yeah. I think that's about it. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, the wheel looks beautiful. The wheel from the roof. Like, we need to put a light on it.
Yeah, or you put a movie light.
A light for night.
It does.
It
So it
does.
shines at night.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Well, you're rearranging the plots. The big ones.
It's the plants. A what?
Plate.
Oh, really?
I thought he said a place. I'm like, a place where? You have me a place?
Huh? ¿Cómo está?